All right. Hey, community support staff. Going to do a brief training here on Oasis EVV, or electronic visit verification. So I've got my screen already mirroring what's on my phone here. So this is where you're going to be doing all of your notes on your phones. And first thing I've got pulled up here is the App Store. I have an Apple phone, so I've got the Apple App Store. If you're on an Android, you'll have your Google Play Store. Going to pull up and type in Oasis EVV. It's important that you type all that in so that you get the right one. Should be the only one that pulls up there. So I've already downloaded it on my phone. If you haven't already, you may need to enter a password or something to get the download to go through. But once you've got it on there, we'll just click open. Your username is going to be the first letter of your first name and then your full last name and then LLM. So for me, I'm Lee Sharp, so it's going to be L Sharp LLM. And then you see where it's already got it pulled up there because I've entered it before. Your password, we'll have that set for you. You can ask us when you first come in to get that set. So I'll click login after entering the password there. The first thing that you're going to see pull up, you've got a schedule there across the top. We've got today is June 10th. You can 11th, different things like that. At the bottom, they've got sync and create. You'll notice down in the bottom where it says profile, this is where all of the settings are. These are all set up to track all the things that we need to meet the state requirements for electronic visit verification. So just don't mess with those. So when we go back in here, what I'm going to do if I'm going to be going to work with a participant is I'm going to set up an appointment. Now, appointments can be set up the day of, or they can be set up for future. So I could go on and set up my appointment for tomorrow if I want to. So I'm going to tap create down here in the bottom. You'll notice I've got my screen here. It's got participant, the service date, the time. So this is going to be the participant. I'm going to select my participant. So let me scroll through my participants here real quick and find my test participant there. You'll notice it's got the name of the participant. It'll have a number beside it. That's just for our tracking here. The service date, let's say I'm providing some supports today. Let's say my shift starts. I can tap on my stuff there and say let's say it starts at 2 o'clock. So I'll switch that up to 2 o'clock there. Tap off. I can also tap on the date if I want to go on and schedule appointments for future things. I can't go back in Oasis and do past appointments or past services that I provided, but I can do today and into the future. Next part down is the service. If I'm providing community supports, which is going to be CLS or community living supports, or if I'm providing respite. Remember, community supports is what we're mostly going to be providing. Respite, each participant only has a limited amount of that, so we're not wanting to use that all the time. That's only if we happen to use up all of the community support stuff, or if, say, the participant is not feeling well that day and you're just staying home with them and they're sick. That's when we're going to be using respite, because we're not working on that participant's goals to help them become more independent during that time. So let's say I'm doing community supports. Notice it's got the start address and the end address. This is going to be your participant's address. And then finally, duration, how long am I going to be working? Let's say I'm working for 4 hours today. And so I've got all of that set in there. I can then click create appointment. It's going to say okay. And then you'll notice on my calendar now, I have an appointment in there. It says it goes from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now, this appointment has not started yet. It does not count as my time. The only way that it's going to do that is if I go in and I hit start. So once you've created your appointment, ideally, you're creating those ahead of time. And then once you've made that appointment, you're able to go in at the beginning of your shift and hit start. It's important that you go on and hit start at the beginning of your shift. So I'm going to go on and click this here and show you what I'm talking about. You'll notice down at the bottom here, it's got all the information in there. It's got a little map if you're wanting to look and see the location there. And then you notice it's got a delete, info, or start. Delete is if I just accidentally made an appointment and I want to get rid of it, don't need it anymore. Or start is going to be when this note starts. So you want this to be accurate. So as soon as you get there, hit go, because we want to make sure that we're recording your full time that you are there. Once you finish up your shift, you'll need to click finish and submit. That way it goes on and record in time. Remember, the times that are up here are not the recorded times that are going to be in the note. It is when you actually hit start and actually hit finish. So make sure that you're doing that at the very beginning and the very end of your shift. So if I go on and hit start, it says appointment success, appointment started. I can click OK. Now it's got a little bit of info down here. If I go back to my screen, I notice I've got a red dot going up in the corner there. This means that it is currently active. So if I go in, my options at the bottom changed. I can hit delete, I can hit reset if something's off on there, or I click document. Document is where we are going to, well, document the supports for the day. So let's jump in there. The first thing that you're going to notice pop up is you got two signatures, the provider signature and the participant or the guardian signature. Before your shift ends that day, we're going to need a signature from you. So let's say I'm going to be on here. I'll scribble that and click save. So I've got my signature in there, and then the second one can either be the participant themselves or their guardian. So this is our test participant. So I'll just write test in there and click save. So we've got both of those in there. Notice down at the bottom, we've got save and finish. We're not quite ready for that yet. If I go up to the notes section, for this area here, this is for recording any sort of important life changes or medical changes, different things like that. It's used a lot in our residential department where we're responsible for their medications and whatnot. So there's not going to be a whole lot of this in community supports. With coronavirus, we've been recording temperatures in this area, but that's all that you need to be using this for right now. Once you've entered any of that info, if it's relevant in there, you can click save down at the bottom and then go over to tasks. Now, tasks is going to feel familiar if you've done daily notes with us before. If not, I'm going to walk through it real quick. We're just going to basically answer the questions as we go down our page here. So the first one, did the participant work on or receive assistance with any of the following? And then select all that apply. So household tasks, if they worked on any chores or things that you all worked on together during the day. Daily living activities, this is just going to be some general, if they're picking up, it's similar to chores, but just generally working on everything from going to run errands, different things along those lines. Personal hygiene is going to be if you get there and they're grabbing a shower real quick, making sure to remember to wash our hands before we're eating, brushing teeth, just daily routine things there. For shopping, that's going to be any sort of time that you all are out and you're going to get groceries, you're purchasing something from Walmart, or you're going out and getting lunch. That's going to include that there. That's going to tie really well into money management as well. Money management is going to be a little bit more specific with just being able to get in there and counting money, looking at the prices of different items when you're walking through stores. Medication management, typically we're not doing a whole lot of this with our community supports people, but if they are working on managing their medications and making sure that they take them at certain times, make sure that you're clicking the medication management. Socialization, again, this is just working on those social skills, getting out, chatting with people, talking, having appropriate conversations, and just working on those person-to-person interactions. Relationship building, similar to socialization, so more about building deeper connections with the people around them and with you as their staff. Leisure choices, this is just getting out and having fun, being able to enjoy meeting up with friends, going to the park, different activities along those times. Community activities, very similar, going to be getting out and spending time with other people, going out and going to stores, going out to restaurants, just getting out in the community and getting involved with them. And hopefully while you're there, building some better relationships with the people that you're out and about with. The next two are just if your participant has these particular goals in them. If there's therapeutic goals, that's going to be if they've got a therapy that they're working with, that's physical therapy or occupational therapy. If you're working on some of those exercises while you're with them, you'll click that one there. So for non-medical care, that one is just going to be if your participant, say, needs help with standing up or going to use the bathroom or needs help with feeding, that's going to be where that option comes in. The next one down here, what goals were worked on and how did they progress, maintain, or what barriers or regression did they experience while working towards goals? So these are the goals that are specifically set for that particular participant. So if they've got exercise goals or they've got healthy eating goals, or whether they're working on their social skills and being able to use their phone or technology better, like we're working on here, this is where we're going to mark whether we're progressing in those goals or maintaining those goals, or if we're having some trouble and we're running into some barriers on working on those goals. So this is where we're going to put that information. You can find all of the participants' goals under what's called their electronic health portal. And then finally, the last question here, what steps of action are being taken to overcome the barriers and achieve higher levels of independence? So if your participant did run into some barriers that day, how are you all working to overcome those barriers? And then also, if your participant's doing really great, how are they going to keep getting better? Remember, as we're writing these, we're writing them all from the third person. So it's, you refer to yourself as the staff. Your participant, you always want to use their initials. We never want to put a participant's name in there. And then we're always going to write it in the past tense, because by the time that anyone is reading this note, everything has already happened. So it would be they went to the park, not we are going to the park, because everything's going to be in the past tense there. Finally, the last questions, which is going to be more COVID specific. Did the participant have an opportunity to engage in activities related to COVID-19 pandemic? If yes, select all that apply. Were you all healthy at home? Were you all staying home during the day? Were you doing some you were doing some extra cleaning, making sure you got the extra hand washing in there, or just asking questions about COVID? Now, as we are transitioning out, we're still going to keep this as a part of the note. So make sure that you're still answering one of these questions. Once that is complete there, you can click save. So make sure that you always enter some information in there. And then once you've got all that filled out, click save down at the bottom. Once this is all complete, there's an option to save or save and finish. If you are ready to be done, click save and finish. It's going to ask you, I feel like 5 times if you're ready. It says, warning, are you ready to submit? Click yes. Note, would you like to submit for approval as well? You're going to click yes. And then it's going to tell you success, appointment completed. Now this is going to take me back to my screen. Notice that it says status completed down at the bottom. If I go back to my other screen, it's got a little green check mark to let me know that it is all finished. Now, as for notes and recording times and whatnot, just to give you all the heads up, if you are working with a participant and let's say they've got a doctor's appointment in the middle of the day, we are not able to bill while they are at that doctor. So what you would need to do is you would need to finish and submit the note right then to record from, say, the time that you got there in the morning up to that doctor's appointment, and then start a second note for the afternoon up until you finish your day. We're not able to bill for that middle part there because they're the doctor's office or the therapist's office or whoever they're going to is going to be billing Medicaid for that time, and we're not able to bill during that time. On your timesheet, though, make sure that you record the full day. We are paying you for that full day. We're just not able to bill for the participant for that full day. Another thing to point out, if I accidentally clicked and I clicked save and submit and I'm like, oh no, I wasn't done yet. If you go back into it, there is an option to undo completion. That's just going to reverse the completion thing, and then you can go on and finish your note for the end of the day. Keep in mind, guys, remember, you want to have your appointments already in there. That way you start it right when you get there. And then before you finish the day, you need to fill out this note completely, and it needs to say completed, because that is going to be your end time. And we want to make sure that those are as accurate as we can be. So guys, that's kind of the basics of Oasis EVV. If you've got any questions, again, just reach out. Love to help you out and figure out all the different things that you need with Oasis.